You're doing an interview in Hollywood and you wanted to see if he'll shoot a 1 hour segment.
So the hit TV show, The War on Terror, keeps the oil and Israel lobbies protected, the military-industrial complex fat with contracts, the drug companies spending on TV spots, and the control group execs rich with some of the biggest paychecks in the world. But who is the executive producer of the show? Easy. It's the Federal Reserve System. The guys that print up the Federal Reserve notes to pay for the guns, bullets, tanks, drones, executive salaries, TV ads, and oil.
It would be impossible to go to the taxpayers of any nation and say, well, we're going to have a war now, a war on terrorism or a war against another country or any kind of a war. So starting next month, everybody has to kick in another 8% of their income, thank you. Well, there'd be a tax revolt overnight. The only way these wars and these great expenditures and these bailouts and all this legalized plundering, the only way that can be done is if the money is created out of nothing, which means it's fiat money. Because without the Federal Reserve, without the ability to create money out of nothing, there would be no way for any of this to be financed.
Bear in mind, the Federal Reserve is little more than a cartel of elite bankers that are based in New York City, right down the street from conglomerate headquarters and the United Nations, global headquarters for the one world totalitarian government now under construction.
So it's very easy for that system to finance essentially any expenditure that the government wants to engage in. The other way to finance warfare is through borrowing. But as soon as the government comes into the market and starts borrowing, it drives up interest rates. As the expression goes, it crowds out the ability of other people to borrow, and this has economic effects. What's the percentage of the Pentagon budget, military budget in this country? It's about 50% or slightly more than the total budget of the country. Could that really be financed by taxation and borrowing in a free market system? Would the people be willing to pay those levels of taxes? And would the market be willing to accept those levels of interest rates? Doubtful.
Yes, the Federal Reserve System is using unconstitutional fiat currency to fund the globalist agenda.
It is the fact that the Federal Reserve is the facilitator, that you couldn't have big government. If everybody loves big government, love the Fed, because they can finance the wars and all the welfare you want. But it doesn't work. It eventually ends up in a crisis.
That's right. The media control group ignores the Fed's violation of Article 1, Section 8 and 10 in order to facilitate infringement of the Second Amendment,